Here with my weekly vlog. If it's only been 1 week since I've last seen you guys, why does it feel like it's been a year? Before I get into my feelings about things that have been happening in the United States, changes that happened, changes that were undone, I want to start off with something lighthearted, kind of, but very exciting. In my last video, I talked about my excitement about Katabasis by rfkuang. It comes out in August, how she gave us a little sneak peek of the front of the proofs, the very limited proofs of which there were only 200 copies, and there was a frenzy among her fans. Well, not even 2 days later, I was going out to go check the mail, and at my door there was a package from HarperCollins. I have a short on here of my first reaction as I opened it in front of the camera, but guys, I have my hands on Katabasis by rfkuang, and I have the 116th proof out of 200. I started it already. Before I jumped in, though, I started reading the Divine Comedy, so Dante's Inferno. A friend of mine, Amanda, also was lucky enough to receive an ARC, and she started reading that first. So I was like, well, that's just a great idea. Was it a great idea? So I flew through that in probably about half of a day, and then I jumped into this, and I've been taking my time. I'm super busy, or I've been busy this last week, so I really haven't had a chance to sit down and read. So I'm still doing the audio of The Veiled Throne by Ken Liu, but when I'm not multitasking and I have the time and the brain capacity to sit down, I've been making my way through Katabasis. I'm about 70 pages in, and it's so good. This is looking like it's going to be my new favorite rfkuang book. I'm not finished yet, so we'll have to see. But thank you so much again, Harper Voyager and HarperCollins, for sending this to me. They made my year. They made what was going to become the beginning of a rough week a little bit easier. Speaking of a rough week, I'm just going to hold on to Katabasis as my emotional support book because I need it. This has been such a hard week for about 50% of Americans. I'm sure it was a great week for some. Not for me. I have just literally been sick to my stomach. I tried to distract myself as much as I could on Monday during the event. And there was just so much content that was being made about it, so many moments that were newsworthy and not in a good way. Not in a good way. And it just has me so fearful. So fearful. I made a video on all of my other platforms about books to distract and inspire. So if you want to check that out, I have it on shorts here. I also have it on my Instagram and my TikTok. Speaking of that, after the changes that happened with TikTok, talk about whiplash. Talk about whiplash. That was such a stressful day. Me and my friends were just on Google Meet, doom scrolling together as a collective in the last hours that we thought would be TikTok. And then it just shut off at 10 p.m. We were like, we have at least another 2 hours or maybe 90 minutes until the 19th. What is this? But that was so stressful. I'm going to put down Katabasis. My content creation journey started on TikTok. So it was very scary just to think about me losing such a huge part of my community. And I was just so sad about it. It's actually crazy. I'll post a little bit of it here, but I was reached out to by my local news station. They had been looking for requests for people who are local creators that primarily make their content on TikTok. And they asked me about my feelings. And as optimistic as I had initially been, talking to the network really just made it seem so much more real. I had a really busy day the following day. The next day was my son's birthday, so I was cleaning the house and I was wrapping presents and putting up decorations. And out of nowhere, somebody was like, get on TikTok. It's back. TikTok is back. And I was like, what was that? And between the message of show before praising a person and the image when you get back on praising a person, I was just like, this is propaganda and I hate it. Why? What was any of that for? For some time, I've been feeling like I've been in a whole season of Black Mirror. A whole season, and I don't understand. I love sci-fi. I don't want to live in one. Anyway, I say all that to say this. I decided after lots of introspection what I wanted to do with my platform on TikTok moving forward because honestly, it felt icky. It felt icky to go back on a platform that was clearly pandering to a certain demographic, a certain community, a certain person. And I decided I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to go anywhere because me being a Black person, a Black woman in 2025, reading, sharing stories is my form of protest. It's my contribution to attempting to enact change in any small way. And that actually brings me to one of the books that I posted about in my video that was book recommendations to distract and inspire. Bitter by Kweke Emezi. I absolutely love their work. This is one of my favorites for certain. This is a prequel to Pet. And if you know anything about Pet, it's a great story. It's a middle grade story about a monster that signifies CSA and the ways that people justify, minimize, ignore those issues and how they shouldn't. But this takes place before that. This is Bitter. And Bitter is Jam's mom. Jam is the main character in Pet. And this takes place when Bitter was around her age. This is about the power of protest and how there's not only one singular way to protest. This is something that Bitter discovers over the course of this book. And with that being said, regarding a statement that was made by the new person in charge about the existence of trans and non-binary people, absolutely disagree. Absolutely disagree, and that's why I'm going to continue to support those individuals and share their stories because it's necessary. So pick up Bitter. It's great. And Pet. And all of the Kweke Emezi's work. They're spectacular. It's been a rough go, and I can't imagine what lots of other people in my country are feeling who are even more vulnerable than I am, you know? So I'm just holding space for them and gonna do my part to try to at least maintain the trajectory that I thought this country was on, because I felt like we were in a good place, but it's just like when we take 2 steps forward, we take 4 steps back. But I saw a creator on TikTok talk about how it's like a slingshot, and I'm hoping and I'm being optimistic that all of this pulling us back will just shoot us to where we have supposed to have been, because it's 2025. We don't got time to be going back. I wanted to give you my brief thoughts on all of those things that have been going on in the last week. I couldn't really give you guys a true weekly vlog if I wasn't being honest about my emotions about what I'm going through. It would have been disingenuous. So I appreciate you guys for hearing me vent a little bit. But I do have some books that I received this week, both through publisher mail as well as some things I picked up on my own. And I've also got some books that I plan to read over the next week. So as I mentioned before, I'm still making my way through the Dandelion Dynasty. I am reading The Veiled Throne, and I don't know if I want to jump right into the last book for 2 reasons. The last book is Speaking Bones. The first reason is I don't want the series to end. I'm really enjoying myself. And the second reason is I have so many other things that I need to be reading that I've been neglecting because of this series. But then at the same time, am I going to disrupt my experience by not reading it all the way through? So hopefully y'all will see this and be able to give me some feedback before I finish The Veiled Throne. So let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do. But regardless, I'm finishing Katabasis. This one doesn't count. I'm reading this either way. This is what I'm going to be working on this week. I want to savor this. I know that I'm not. I've only read 70 pages, but that's just only because of everything that's been going on. It's been a rough few days. But I have a feeling that once I have some time to myself to really sit down, this book is being finished by the time I get it from my desk. And I've been annotating. I don't annotate most of my books, but I always annotate rfkuang because it's necessary. You got to take notes. The rest of the week, there are a few things that are on my immediate TBR. And this is actually just like the top of the dome. I'm sure if you would have asked me last week, I would have had a different set of books that I plan to read. But that's the nature of being a mood reader. So I want to get to The Lies of a Jungo and The Truth of Aleke by Moses Ose Utomi. I also received an e-arc of the 3rd book in the trilogy, The Conclusion. I'm a writer in an up-and-coming magazine called Reading Magazine that was started by 2 of my friends. And I wrote an article about books to look out for in 2025 by Black Americans. The 3rd book in the series was one of the books that I mentioned, so I know a little bit about it, probably more than I wanted to know since I haven't read these 2. But after writing that article, I was like, no, I don't know what I've been waiting so long for, so I want to get to these. And I'm fairly certain I could probably knock out all 3 in a day. So I'm going to do that. I think that'd be a good way to spend a day, is to make my way through these. I am going in blind. Like I said, I know that the 3rd book is about a scholar who was studying a character in one of these 2 books, if not both of them, because it is like a huge time jump. It's been like, I don't know, 1,000 years. And there's speculation within the community whether or not this person existed, if they did the things that they've done. So that was so intriguing to me. I was like, oh, I mean, clearly he exists, but like, is the person in the 3rd book going to uncover all of the things that happen in these 2? I'll have to read and see. Aside from that, I have no idea. I don't know what goes on in these 2. I don't know what it's about. I know there's a desert. I think that they are looking for water. That could be completely off base. So if I'm wrong, act like you didn't hear me say that. So aside from that, my friend Emma Skies, she's on YouTube as well as other platforms, has been raving about Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long for so long. And I know that the 1st and 2nd books have already come out. A 3rd book, I think, was just announced. And I am feeling some FOMO. I need to know what she's talking about. She raves about this book. We have very similar tastes, so I know that if she loved it, I'll probably love it as well. I'm also going to do this somewhat blind. I know this is like, I think pirates. I think some water. It's looking like that. It's by the cover alone. So I'll keep you guys posted on this. And in the next couple of weeks, for certain, if not this week coming up, I need to start my reread of Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I love the Legendborn cycle. I love Bree. I don't fight. But would I fight for Bree? Absolutely. I'll attempt to throw a punch. I would. And I'm going to jump right into Bloodmarked right afterwards. And I don't know what was going on when I read Bloodmarked. I think there's just a lot going on in my life, but this book is like a fever dream to me. I feel like I remember much more Legendborn than I do Bloodmarked. So I'm going to take my time, be meticulous, go through every page. And Tracy, Miss Deonn, was saying that these books are meant for rereads, and there are Easter eggs and things that you may have not noticed on the first run that are very important and that she would hope you notice on the second run. So I'm going through with a fine-tooth comb with these 2 books in anticipation of Oathbound that comes out March 4th. I love Black girl magic. I love secret societies. I love academia. I love Arthurian legend. That encompasses this series, this cycle. So, looking forward to that. All right, now to the book mail. I got Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray from Berkeley. This is about one of the founders of the Harlem Renaissance. It's about a school teacher who moved from DC to New York to see her dreams come true. Jessie Redmond Fawcett seemed to have some history with one of the founders of the movement as well, W.E.B. Du Bois. And that's all I've been hearing about this book. I plan to pick it up eventually. I think I want to read it next month. This comes out in February, Black History Month on the 4th. People were really upset about this, and people were also upset about the discourse that was happening about it, so I'll keep you guys posted on this one. But I also received a paperback copy of The Atlas Complex from Tor. This is by Olivie Blake. This is a divisive series. I liked it. I appreciate a book where it's a lot of character study, and if I had to choose between plot and character study, usually I'm going to choose both, but if I had to choose one, I'm going to go with a character study. I also was like a super existential child and like probably had my first nervous breakdown at like the state of the universe when I was like 12. So this was perfect for me. I really liked the introspection, a lot of the conversations that the characters were having, and I liked how there was like some fantasy and magical elements that were weaved in as well. In this paperback copy, there is a snippet of her new book, Gifted and Talented. I started that. I'm about 20% into the e-arc. So if you want to get a little snippet and you prefer paperback copies and you haven't picked up the Atlas Complex, it's available. And from HarperCollins, I received a finished copy of The Legend of Maneka by Kritika H. Rao. This is Indian mythology across the mortal and immortal realms. It's about an enchanting, alluring celestial dancer, but there's much more to her than meets the eye. She's also been a trained weapon. This has a lot of romance, political intrigue, and it has an absolutely stunning cover. This just came out on Tuesday, so the 21st of January. Can't wait to check this out, so I will keep you guys posted. And then one book that I picked up on my own is The Hidden Girl and Other Stories, a collection of short stories by Ken Liu. In my last video, I mentioned his AMC series, Pantheon, and that is based on a few of the stories in this book. So I am so excited about this. I couldn't find this anywhere in the US. I got this on Blackwell's. Thank God they have free shipping from the UK. So I got this for like 12 bucks. This was such a steal. Once I finish the Dandelion Dynasty, I'm eventually going to, I think, start with the Paper Menagerie, that collection of short stories, and then eventually I will jump into this. Just listen to the back of this. This sounds so intriguing. From interdimensional assassins to a steampunk dystopia destroyed by plague, from Black Mirror-esque tales of blockchain cryptography and internet trolling to artificial intelligence and the singularity, here are 17 interlinking visions that explore what it is to be human and what it is like to abandon or transcend that. This is getting easier every time I do it. So once again, if you're still here, both as far as being in my third video and being this many minutes into this one, I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm just trying to, protect my peace, control what I can control. I encourage you all to do the same. I don't have any plans of going anywhere. I'm going to be on all the platforms that I'm on. We'll see if I join any new ones. We'll see if I have the spoons to do that. But I'm just going to keep reading, keep veganizing my favorite recipes that I see online. Speaking of which, I finally made the Turkish pasta, and I didn't make it like Anna Paul's mom. Like, I pulled up some other videos that were showing like authentic versions, and of course I'm making a vegan version, so I don't know how authentic my version really is, but I did like an amalgamation of the two of those things, and I've had it twice, back-to-back days. And I have to be careful because I have a tendency to hyperfixate on meals. Like, I was making the same tofu stew for like 90 days before I got sick of it. I made those cranberry, sugar-coated cranberry things like for like 3 weeks after the holidays. I can't hyperfixate on pasta. I mean, I could, but I probably shouldn't. But it was so good. I was able to find some boxes of the cranberry fizz. Is that the name of it? The poppy that was like the holiday version, the holiday exclusive. I got like 4 boxes of that. So I'm going to probably drink those until I get sick of it. And then at that point, I probably still won't be sick of it, but I won't be able to buy them anymore. So that'll be sad. Yeah, what else have I been obsessed with lately? Just reading. Reading and trying to maintain my peace. So I appreciate you guys for listening to me ramble this far. Let me know in the comments what you guys are reading, what your thoughts are on any of the things that I said. And we're 2 vlogs down, 2 vlogs in 2 weeks. I'm talking to you, and I'm also talking to you. Like, we're actually doing this. Like, it took so much out of me to do this. Like, I didn't want to do anything, but I was just like, if you fall off the horse 2 weeks in, you're not getting back on. So we did it. I'm going to go edit this, and hopefully this one doesn't take me 5 hours. So I'll see y'all in the next one.